What is going on, everyone? This is episode 4 of Littleroot Lessons. As always, I'm your host, Carter Noble, joined by our fantastic co-host, Carl Wilkin. Carl, what's going on today, man?
Well, we've got a little bit lighter episode this week since there's not a whole lot going on due to COVID-19 canceling most of the in-person tournaments.
Wash your hands.
We've got...
I think that's all we're going to say this week about COVID.
Maybe.
Yeah, who knows, man.
Speaking of washing your hands, our team of the week features Wishy Washy.
Yeah, let's just jump right in here, shall we?
Yeah.
So this is submitted to us by my buddy Casey Kitch on Discord as Slacking, on Showdown as Spider Llama. Casey is known to play obscure Pokemon. And I mean, it's pretty apparent when you actually look down at this team of what we're actually talking about. So, leading it off, we have Raichu, Wishy Washy, Conkeldurr, Bisharp, Sableye, and Togekiss. Breaking it down a little bit more, it's kind of doing similar stuff to the team we talked about back in episode 2 with Mudsdale Ribombee.
Yeah.
We have no Trick Room Setter, so our biggest way to abuse Wishy Washy's awful speed, same with Conkeldurr in a sense, is we have Speed Swap on Raichu. Raichu is also critically important with Wishy Washy because it has Lightning Rod, so it gets to take care of its primary weakness, while also holding a Sash, has Fake Out for support and Helping Hand as well. His damaging attack here is Thunderbolt, which I could see being nuzzled just for more like speed control if you really want to go that route. Mm-hmm. Overall, you know, Raichu is Raichu. It's a Pokemon I've played quite a bit with at the beginning of the season and, well, beginning of this game. That was back in Series 1 now.
Yep. It reminds me a lot of Garachoo, except we're just slower.
Which is why, yeah, I mean, that's actually a really good way to look at it. Past that, we also have this Wishy Washy, like the cornerstone of this team. I can't quite tell on these stats. It looks like 252 HP, 128 in defenses.
That's what it looks like.
Scald, Ice Beam, Helping Hand, Protect. I don't quite understand why we have Helping Hand here.
I guess if we don't want to do speed swap things, we can be this bulky kind of supportimon.
I guess.
Like Helping Hand or Bisharp and just smack somebody.
True. That does sound like it smacks real hard. It's also carrying Policy, so like if it ever gets hit by anything and like Raichu's not on the field to take an electric hit, Policy's gonna go off. Wishy Washy's gonna get real swole real quick.
Oh yeah.
Next we have this Conkeldurr, pretty stock list at this point. Drain Punch, Mach Punch, Fire Punch, Protect, Flame Orb, Guts, 252 health, 252 attack, Adamant, 4 into special defense. It's Conkeldurr.
Yep, it's just a Conkeldurr.
He punches really hard. I mean, that's the best thing we can say about Conkeldurr, man. I've been doing a lot of similar things with Pangoro, and let me tell you, they punch hard.
Up next is Bisharp, where we kind of get into the meat and potatoes of this team, because outside of the Raichu Wishy Washy combo, we have Bisharp here as like our other big like threat, which is holding the Assault Vest, going to be Defiant to kind of counteract all the Intimidates running around. Running Sucker Punch, Iron Head, Brick Break, and Poison Jab as our suite of moves. I'm not sure why we're running Poison Jab, like what Poison Jab does for us.
I actually don't have an answer for that one. Because I was going to say, well, it's steel coverage, but, it's a fairy coverage, but, last time I checked, Togekiss gets checked pretty hard by an Iron Head.
Looking through, we could run something like X-Scissor or Stone Edge.
Do we get access to like high horsepower
No, we don't get a ground type move very well at all.
Rock Slide?
Rock Tomb and Stone Edge.
Stone Edge is not the worst.
Shadow Claw. Psycho Cut.
Psycho Cut's not bad. I can get down with some Psycho Cut. We also have knockoff. Like if we want another stab dark move, that's not Sucker Punch.
Do we get knockoff?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it on here.
I'm looking right now on a Showdown.
Are you on VGC 2020? Because it used to get knockoff and it doesn't anymore.
I hate this game.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Why do you always have to be right, man? Why can't you let me just have my one thing?
The reason I asked is because I was on Cerebi looking at it and
Gotcha.
I didn't see it. I'm just like, what are you talking about knockoff? We don't get knockoff.
So our best dark move then is Throat Chop or Night Slash?
Night Slash has a high crit ratio. Maybe get a lucky crit.
It's kind of whatever, right?
But Sucker Punch is pretty good. Sucker Punch is...
Sucker Punch hits real hard.
So, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Poison Jab, but looking through its move pool, it might be just, like, what we're stuck with, unless you want to run X-Scissor.
We get Low Kick. Low Kick's kind of whatever. Brick Break. We have Brick Break on this already, don't we?
Yep. We get Dig.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like Dig. Like
notably, it gets Snarl. Didn't know that.
I did see Snarl, which, like, sure, you're not doing a lot of damage, but it is a move that lowers stats that you can do through Vest.
Right.
So, like, that's not the worst thing I've ever heard.
Guillotine.
I was gonna suggest it, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot. So.
No. See, the trick here is to teach it beat up, and just blow up opposing Pokemon.
Does it get beat up?
Yep.
It does get beat up. Interesting. Man, beat up from this thing actually sounds pretty deadly. Especially if, like, you bring, like, it and Conkeldurr and just be like, smash you.
Like, it plus Conkeldurr just hits really, really hard. And then you bring, like... Well, and then the rest of your Pokemon are just kind of just like, meh. But, like, it and Conkeldurr hit really hard.
I don't hate that.
Moving on, we have another good one, Sableye here. Foul Play, Encore, Quash, Taunt, Prankster, carrying the Rosalie Berry, and we're kind of just like this mixed defensive support.
So I've talked to Casey, and he's a big fan of encoring things that have, like, Tailwind or, like, other Prankster abusers, because Sableye is immune to Prankster because it's dark, so he can't be taunted by them, but he can taunt them.
Yeah. He's a good counter to Whimsicott.
A real good counter to Whimsicott. Doesn't do much against Hatterene or Grimmsnarl,
but most of your Prankster Mons weren't going to do much against Hatterene or Grimmsnarl anyway.
True. And, like, Quash is also just, like, good. Be like, well, you have a big threat that I need to answer, and I have exactly this turn to do it, so let's make it where you can't do anything, and instead I pick up the KO.
Yep.
That's where Quash really stands out. It's like, all right, well, I had to beat this up right now, otherwise you take over the game with it. So I have exactly one turn, and if I don't, I'm probably dead.
Yep. Rounding out the team and our trio of Conkeldurr, Bisharp, Togekiss. It's kind of rounds out this fairy steel fighting core that we've got here. It's pretty standard Togekiss, carrying Babiri Berry, Super Luck, Air Slash, Dashing Gleam, Follow Me, and running Protect instead of Yawn in that spot. We are a little bit more bulky than fast, running 252 HP, I can't read how much defense that is. I think that's 160.
It looks like, I was going to say 160 or 188, somewhere in there.
It's one of those two, and then you can figure out the math. It's like 96 on the special defense.
That sounds right. That looks right.
So it's pretty bulky. If we're running the Babiri, I would rather run Serene Grace so I can just do air slash flinches over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than having this off chance it crits and not carrying Super Scope.
I agree.
As I like to call it.
I feel like if you're not wanting to crit people out of the game with Scope, then having Serene Grace is probably correct.
Yeah. And looking over it, it's like there's like 4-man cores of like Wishy-Washy Raichu, Bisharp, Togekiss. There's another 4-man core of Sableye Togekiss into Conkeldurr, Wishy-Washy, or like Bisharp in that spot, in Conkeldurr's spot. So there's like a lot of 4-man groups that you can do with this, and it's got a lot of really good synergies. I like this team a lot. Just kind of looking at it. Like, on face value, it looks really, really good. You ready?
It's definitely sweet, man. Wishy-Washy is definitely something that I can say I have not seen, but I know it's something that Casey has been working on for years. And years is not an understatement when I say that. He has been a very big aficionado when it comes to those kind of things for quite a while. So, I think that's all I had to say about Wishy-Washy this week, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of, that's about where I'm at too. It's like I've kind of just like, I've said all I wanted to say about it, and I ain't got much more to say about it.
I know, just talking to the people in Discord, one of the mons that's really starting to pick up in popularity, especially among them, is this Bisharp. Yeah. It's just like, man, it is like, we've had several teams submitted that has had this Bisharp on it. It's just like, all right, well, what can we do with this week? So, you know, again, showing off the diversity of it here again. So I definitely like it alongside Togekiss Conkeldurr. Like, having those three together seems like a very good direction that I have not tested with, but I definitely think would be worth sitting down and actually crunching some numbers and doing so. Yeah. You ready? So moving right on to this VictoryRoad tournament.
Yep, the VR Spring Challenge.
So this was a tournament that took place, I believe, last weekend. Yep. From the 21st to the 22nd. Yep. I can read the information presented on this page.
I was about to say, it's all right there in front of you. You ain't got a whole lot of reading to do.
Reading is hard, man, okay?
I don't see how.
So this was a 370-player tournament held completely online through VictoryRoad that they presented because people are quarantining and, you know, a lot of the major tournaments have been canceled in person. And there's just this big void of not having enough competitive outlets at this point. So this was something that they put together, and we get to talk some teams this week.
And by some, we mean 32. We got top 32 this time because it was enough players to where they were able to cut to top 32.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 370 players is quite a lot, even if it is just an online tournament. So, yeah. I was crunching some numbers out of this top 32. Togekiss is in 17 of them, so just over half. Looks like Lapras is in 6, 7, 8 of them. So just at 25%. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I counted 10 Lapras.
Oh, did I miscount?
A lot of them got shifted around.
Oh, gotcha. 10 Lapras, 11 Incineroars, which we'll talk over them here in just a minute, but couple of those, looks like quite a few of those are together too. Just want to dive right into first place here?
Yeah.
So, first place from... Oh, sorry. Oh, that hurt. First place with Justin Ramirez. We have Togekiss, Durant, Tyranitar, Arcanine, Indeedee, and Gastrodon. I'm kind of confused about what this Indeedee is doing here.
Indeedee is another follow me that removes priority. Much better than Togekiss does.
Yeah, with all the fake out abusers going on right now, I could actually see Psychic Terrain being very prevalent.
Yep. And like we all know, it turns off most prankster moves and just sets up your Durant or your Tyranitar really well. Also, is just a good pair for Arcanine because you can just like, the longer your Arcanine sits on the field, the better the game is going to get for you most of the time. Because you're just sitting there snarling against all these special attackers that are just out on the field, and you just kind of just, the longer, like I said, the longer it sits there, the better it's going to get for you because you can just out damage them.
I can get down with that.
I like the Durant Togekiss lead. I like there's a Arcanine Togekiss lead here. There's also an Indeedee Togekiss lead, which could be like if you have to lean on Togekiss as your damage dealer, you can. Gastrodon's a good backmon. Tyranitar is good in the back on this team.
So something that I feel came up quite a bit when I was playing Durant. I don't feel like Durant is very good coming out of the back.
It's never good as a backmon. Usually you want to lead up front because you want your strat. You have to abuse it then and now and not have to wait for it.
Yeah, Durant is not one that adapts to situations well. It wants to be the situation.
Yep.
And I mean, I've played quite a bit with Durant, and I feel like that's a pretty spot-on representation of what Durant is about. Same with like Arctozolt or Dracozolt, where you want to be the best thing going on right this second. Yep. You want your opponent to answer you.
Yeah, that's a good assessment of that.
Looking down here at second and third, these are pretty similar teams with one mon difference. So the 5 are Togekiss, Lapras, Incineroar, Dusclops, and Conkeldurr. Then the one difference is in second place we have an Alchemy, and then in third place we have a Roserade.
Alchemy's there for decorate shenanigans. Roserade is there as a sleep mon.
Interesting.
Pretty much how it works there.
Alchemy does not look good in the face of Double Follow Me.
No.
just looking at this, I kind of see why Justin was able to place first if you're basically playing against 5 mons compared to 6.
I can tell you, as a person who plays female Indeedee a lot, stealing decorates off of Alchemies, your Indeedee gets really scary really fast.
Oh, yes. I had this happen at Collinsville. I played against Indeedee. I mean, against Alchemy. And Togekiss followed me, and he's like, man, I was really hoping that's not how this worked.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, yes. Yes, it is.
Give me all the buffs.
Proceeded to set Tailwind and sweep with Togekiss that game.
Yeah. But the Roserade builds are cool. It's like if you're not running Sun, Roserade's faster than Venusaur, I believe.
Interesting.
So
I believe
I think that's how it works. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up.
I know that's something we talked about quite a bit last week was non-Sun Venusaur. So it's interesting to see that there is a big fluctuation. Well, not even a big fluctuation, but just that change from one to the other. Specifically here.
Roserade's a little bit more special defensive, has a little bit more special attack, and a little bit more speed. Lacks in the HP department and the defense department compared to Venusaur, though.
So it's... Okay.
So you're faster and you hit a little bit harder. Probably running Technician, I'd have to say. You could be also running Natural Cure, but I'm not sure.
Natural Cure is kind of whatevs.
Yeah.
It's not one that's gonna most likely do a lot for you, but when it does, it's just like, oh, this is so good. But I don't see that being here. Is Technician hidden ability?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Again, one that I have not played a lot with, and by a lot I mean at all.
Notable moves here that get buffed on this Rosary. Magical Leaf gets buffed up to 90 power.
Plus stab, so 135.
Yeah.
That hits pretty hard.
Razor Leaf would hit decently at going up to, I think it's 80 something. It's like 80. It's like a fraction of some sort.
What is it at? Is it 55?
It's 55.
So that would put it to 87, I believe.
Yeah,
or
something
88
like that.
after rounding.
However they round.
Yeah.
Mega Drain goes up to 60.
Okay.
Weather Ball outside of weather is 75.
Does Giga Drain have a base power of 60 or 80?
Giga Drain is 75.
Oh, I was nowhere near it. Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Venoshock is just outside Technician range at 65.
Womp womp.
So your best poison move, like a damaging move, is Poison Sting.
Oof, that's rough.
Exactly.
I think I'd rather just not take the Technician boost and just Sludge Wave people.
Well, Sludge Bomb.
Or pick one.
We don't get Wave.
Oh, well, pick one.
I did. It's Bomb. It's the only one.
I would recommend the legal one.
So like Magical Leaf, Sludge Bomb, Sleep Powder, and then probably like Protect or something.
Mm-hmm. Seems about right. About what I would expect.
Yeah. Notably, 7th and 8th are also the same as the 3rd place team.
Oh, I actually hadn't got that far.
So we won't have to talk about those teams either.
I am doing this on the fly today, man. I am very unprepared this week.
Yeah, a lot of the teams are real similar.
I knew about this event, but I hadn't seen results until Carl's like, "Hey, have you seen these yet?" I'm like, "Nope."
Nope.
Like, I had looked and could not find them. So Carl, once again, being the driving force behind the podcast, he is great. Make sure you go follow him on Twitter as well as me.
Moving on to 4th, who apparently was disqualified for some weird reason.
Any ordeal? Any idea about that ordeal?
No, they didn't say.
It's interesting that we didn't get a disqualification till top 4, but I guess better late than never. I don't know. Carl, did you die on me?
No, I was looking through Twitter seeing if I could find something. But I couldn't find anything on it. So the top 4 team, this last team in the top 4 is Togekiss, Tyranitar, Excadrill, Dragapult, Incineroar, and Rotom Wash.
Interesting. So we have the typical sand lead of Tyranitar, Excadrill to be able to just mess your opponent up before they get to do anything. This is probably a special attacking Dragapult if I had to guess.
Yeah, for sure.
May that be weakness policy, which is common, like picking up in popularity here. If it's not policy, that means that the Tyranitar has the policy then. Meaning Dragapult is either Specs or Life Orb at that point.
I would expect Tyranitar to be policy, Focus Sash on Excadrill,
yep.
Orb on Dragapult, Vest on no one, because Incineroar is probably Parting Shot instead of U-Turn.
And Togekiss doesn't gain anything from Vest, and same with Rotom. It's just not naturally bulky enough to dictate carrying a Vest.
No. Probably put Specs on Rotom Wash and just abuse it.
I can get down with that. That sounds good.
Going down through the rest of this top 8, fifth place has got the same like Togekiss, Incineroar, Rotom, Wash trio that the fourth place team had, except for supplementing it with a Trick Room setup of Rhyperior, Bronzong, and then Roserade as that utility sleeper. This Incineroar I would almost expect to be Vest.
Yep, I can see this one being Vest.
Because
or Policy.
We don't have a lot of damage outside of that.
This could be Policy. No, not if they have Rhyperior too.
On the team, no.
Yeah, definitely going to be Vest then, in my opinion.
Yeah, almost has to be. It's almost a damage. It looks like a damage dealing Incineroar.
Like,
for sure.
Based on the outlet around it, like it would make sense that it is a damaging.
And then moving on to sixth place, we have a very Series 1 looking team of Dragapult, Arcanine, Milotic, Mimikyu, Dusclops, and Ferrothorn.
Man, that's a name I ain't heard in a minute. Ferrothorn?
Right? Yeah, Ferrothorn.
Yeah, this is pretty hard on the Trick Room, if you want to be honest.
Yeah, this one's probably a little bit more leaning into Trick Room than others. This Dragapult is probably Weakness Policy, because Mimikyu and Dusclops can both Shadow Sneak into Dragapult to set it off.
So when Trick Room isn't good, we just get to sweep them with Dragapult.
Yep.
More importantly, we probably also have Trick Room on Mimikyu and Dusclops, so in the event that we lead Dragapult and pick one, in the event that Dragapult goes down, then you can still set up Trick Room with Ferrothorn or Mimikyu in the back.
Yep.
Milotic is not bad in Trick Room.
Yeah, it's actually decent at just sitting there in muddy water all the time.
I actually don't know its base speed.
It's not terribly fast.
81.
Yeah, that's still within range for Trick Room.
That is way faster than I anticipated.
But that's way within range of Trick Room, because most people are, like, right now the upper range is about 100 base speed, and is about the highest you could, like, feasibly get away with under Trick Room.
Man, Mimikyu is 96. I didn't realize it was that fast either.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hence why 100's about that limit. Gudra's about the baseline. If you're slower than Gudra, you're probably good. If you're faster than Gudra,
try again, buddy.
Yeah. But there's so many mons slower than Gudra that even 100 is a little bit high. And like we said, 7th and 8th were pretty much repeat teams of the third place team, with the Roserade, Incineroar, Lapras, Togekiss, Dusclops, Conkeldurr thing. Moving out of the top 8 and into the top 16, we start to see a little bit more variety. There's a Venusaur in 9th. There's a Rotom Mow in 11th.
Mm-hmm.
I like this 12th place team.
Rotom Mow is one that we haven't seen a lot of here lately, and honestly, it's fallen so far out of favor with having Venusaur in the format now. It's unfortunate that, you know, even it wasn't even the best at what it did, but now it's just basically
obsolete.
I don't want to say unplayable, but yeah, obsolete's a really good wording.
This 12th place team I'm real interested in. So we're kind of like this Trick Room Sun, but we're playing this Alolan Persian.
Alolan Persian doesn't miss around, man.
I like this a lot. I like Alolan Persian a lot on this team. Just as like this support with Quash that's not Prankster. So your Quash actually does stuff against Grimmsnarl and other mons. But it's whatever. Having Fur Coat, having a real good defensive wall here is actually really good.
Yeah, Fur Coat is real powerful. Being able to double your defense, and that's after investment. That doubles your defense stat, not your base defense.
Yep.
It's the same way with Huge Power, which I actually don't know of any mon in this game with Huge Power.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has it.
Diggersby.
Oh, meh.
I now understand why no one uses huge power.
You have a goal now. You get Diggersby to be good.
In games past, I have used huge power with Mega Mawile.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, when it goes from Intimidate to huge power, that's awesome.
Oh, I bet. It's
Yeah,
like, I'm going
it
to
was
lower
sweet.
your attack. Oh, wait. Now I'm the
a
strongest
double
thing.
mine. Yeah, it's cool. I don't miss Megas. Please, Nintendo, don't bring them back.
Wolfie Glick finished 13th with Glaceon in his team.
It's not number one, man.
No, it's not. He's working on it.
Is that like Wolf's deal? Is like he wants to hit one with all the evolutions?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I know he did it with Leafeon right before Venusaur got legal.
Yep.
And I know I've seen him talking a lot about having access to, doing stuff with Glaceon, but that's about all I ever have seen.
Yeah.
I haven't ever seen, man, this is so good, or, anything related to that.
Moving on to finish up this top 16 here. 14th is another weird take on like what looks to be Sun. I'm not sure how we're setting it up, but I like this Meowstic and I like this Duraludon.
To my knowledge, Meowstic does not get Sunny Day. I could be wrong about that.
So we could be just running Charizard to run Charizard and Venusaur as a Sun counter?
It does get Sunny Day. I am wrong.
Well, then that's probably how they're setting up their Sun then.
Yep. That would make sense then.
Rounding out this team with Duraludon and Conkeldurr as your other damage dealers seems pretty decent. Having Duraludon as your steel type that's not really weak to fire is actually kind of good.
Oh, I agree. I definitely agree. The fact that it resists, it's neutral to fairy and it resists fire is pretty great. Because like fighting, like outside of Conkeldurr.
Is it resist fire? I thought it was neutral to fire.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's neutral. It's neutral to fairy and fire.
That makes more sense.
And like outside of Conkeldurr, fighting moves really aren't that popular. And like outside of like Excadrill and Tyranitar, ground coverage is really not as dominant as it used to be either.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that might change depending on how Nintendo wants to address the DLCs.
Yeah, I'm excited for the DLCs.
We will we'll get to that discussion here in a non-zero amount of time.
15th place is another Trick Room team. This one is probably weakness policy Incineroar.
Yeah, there we go.
Incineroar, Milotic, Mimikyu, Dusclops, Conkeldurr, and Ferrothorn. Yeah.
This is kind of a pretty sweet team.
I like that.
This is hard Trick Room for sure.
Oh yeah.
Like lead Mimikyu, Dusclops, set Trick Room with one, protect with the other, however you want to do it, and then switch out the Mimikyu for Incineroar, Bulldoze. You drop your speed, but you also proc your weakness policy, set up, and sweep.
Yep. 16th place is got that Tyranitar Dragapult as their damage again, running Gastrodon as support for the Tyranitar. Also is running Mimikyu, Rotom Mow, and Arcanine.
This is one I can get down with. This was a lot of mons I really like. I just don't want this Rotom Mow. I'd rather that be
play Roserade in that spot.
I was actually thinking either Roserade or Serena.
Serena's not bad either.
I know we talked about it a little bit last week. I ended up picking it up in Draft League, and I almost brought it this week, but unfortunately I cut it pretty last minute.
Moving out of the top 16 into the bottom half of the standings here. 17th is got this like weird Trick Room plus weird Sun setup. We're running Ninetales instead of Torkoal in our Trick Room team.
That's the like the hinge of the teams that would normally bring the two together would be Torkoal, but instead we have Ninetales here.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure why.
Maybe just like bringing Dusclops Rhyperior in as like a hedge against other Trick Room teams.
I could see it, like just having a hard counter to Trick Room with Rhyperior seems okay.
Like the turn, like you lead that against their Trick Room leads, and instead of using Trick Room, you just bulldoze your Rhyperior and just KO something.
And just go off.
Yeah,
I could see it. Interesting thing here in 18th, we have male Indeedee.
Another Trick Room user. That's 3 users on that team, potentially.
Is that what Indeedee does?
Indeedee male gets Trick Room.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What else does it get?
After You.
After You is kind of adorable here, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. A lot of utility in those in that mod in general.
Do they both get ally switch?
I believe so.
Okay. I didn't know if that was unique or not.
Again, this team is hard Trick Room. Having 3 setters means your opponent doesn't really know what's going to have Trick Room. But being able to go After You with your Hatterene into hopefully just setting up your Trick Room there isn't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You could also do the whole Dusclops Indeedee lead and have that shenanigans going for you. This Rhyperior is 100% the policyholder. The Assault Vest is probably on Incineroar in this team.
Mm-hmm. Leftovers on Milotic. Eviolite on the Dusclops as always. And then probably Psychic Seed on
Hatterene. And then Sash on your Indeedee probably.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Moving on to this 20th place team. It's got Sun and Lapras and Raichu. It's got everything.
Huh. So this is Dragapult, Lapras, Raichu, Ninetales, Cheerum.
Yep.
And Conkeldurr. I have no idea what we're doing with this Cheerum other than chlorophyll things.
Flower Gift.
Excuse me for a second.
Flower Gift, I believe, is buff special attack, buff special defense, or buff attack, buff special defense. It's one of those two. It's weird.
It and its allies attack and special defense.
There it is. So
that's weird.
So what you can do, you can run this alongside your Conkeldurr after Sun is set up, and your Conkeldurr hits harder. If you're running physical Dragapult also hits harder.
Interesting.
So Flower Gift Cheerum, I've seen it a little bit on ladder, and it's cute for sure, but I don't know how good it actually is.
Evidently good enough.
Good enough to make top 32 of a 370 player tournament.
I mean that's decent.
I like the Raichu Lapras pairing. It's just good coverage to make sure your Lapras doesn't get completely blown out by an electric type attack.
I agree. It's sweet.
And then Ninetales is a decent Sunsetter in this team. And then Conkeldurr is just good coverage.
I like it, especially after I figure out what this Cheerum is actually doing. Having that special defense boost on both Conkeldurr and Dragapult seems pretty critically important.
Yeah.
It's weird to say, but it's kind of doing the same thing Clefairy does.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar thing.
It needs a little bit of support, but once it has that support, it really helps out a lot.
Yeah. Looking over the rest of these teams, 21st has our first Corviknight and our first Primarina.
I'm going to go ahead and say those are both the only ones. Nope, I am a liar.
Yeah.
There's a Corviknight down in 28th as well.
Yep. Primarina's been getting a lot of popularity lately because it pairs well with Venusaur, and the whole water grass pledge becomes swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if you know what swamp does.
No idea.
I believe, if I remember right, swamp increases the odds of your secondary effects happening.
Oh, okay. That's kind of sweet, actually.
So, you get your flinches increase, your burns increase, your freezes increase, things like that. I believe that's how swamp works. And then there's 2 others for fire, water, and then fire, grass, but those aren't as popular.
Yeah, that's actually kind of some sweetness.
Yeah.
I can get down with that.
Going through to 23rd here, we have a really cool, like, Durant team that's running Hydreigon as its dragon
Color
type.
me intrigued.
We also have Hitmontop and Chandelure as support.
All right, you said a lot of things there that I am really, really excited for. Let's actually break this one down.
So we have Togekiss as Follow Me support, probably running Yawn, Air Slash, Dazzling Gleam, Super Scope, nonsense
Carl,
like that.
I'm pretty sure I've played this exact team.
I'm pretty sure you have too. Durant, Hustle, Life Orb, obviously. Whimsicott is your speed control with Tailwind, also has Taunt and probably Energy Ball as grass coverage. Hydreigon carries your Vest, probably doing Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, Earth Power, and Flamethrower most likely, because your only other fire move is likely going to be on the Chandelure in the form of Heat Wave, which is probably literally just there to stop opposing Trick Roomers with Imprison and Focus Sash, and then you probably have Eject Button, Hitmontop, doing Close Combat, Mach Punch, Intimidate things.
Yeah, that's what I'm about. You said a lot of things there that I am all for.
I'm getting really good at this, figuring out what Pokemon do on Teams thing, and I'm very pleased with that. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on my commentary from Draft Week video this week.
Which, if you haven't listened to yet, it's on our YouTube channel. That link is down in the show notes, as always.
Moving down
Don't
into
mind me, just
the
casually
bottom half
plugging
of the
things.
20s.
So this puts us at 24, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We see a Bisharp.
I believe this is the only one we've seen so far.
That's the only Bisharp we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of surprises me because of how popular it's been in our Discord and how much I've seen people talking about it on the internet in general. Like, if you go into Reddit, I'm pretty sure there's like 15 Rate My Teams that have Bisharp.
All with Conkeldurr. Yeah.
That have Bisharp.
All with Bisharp. There we go. My bad. I knew what I was talking about.
Looking through this, I'm guessing we're just running Gastrodon to protect our Rotom Heat.
Yes.
Which is weird. I kind of would rather run any water type besides that. Just, like, run a Lapras.
I was going to say Lapras. I could see this being Gyarados if we wanted some more damage.
Yeah.
That puts a lot of physical attackers on this team, though.
I like Lapras. Lapras in this spot seems decent.
Yeah, Lapras seems real solid there.
Say, because that gives you Togekiss Lapras or Meowstic Lapras leads, which then you set up Veil for your Bisharp to come out and just sweep people, because Bisharp doesn't have to Dynamax to actually deal damage.
Yep.
It's really strong. Down to 25th. This is a weird team because it's Charizard with no other Sun support.
Charizard's just good, man.
Charizard by himself. Also, I have no idea what's going on in 26th, so we'll get to that in a minute.
What do you mean?
There's 2 Venusaurs.
Oh. I thought we were talking about this Life Hard.
No, there's 2 Venusaurs. Like, I don't know what's doing. But this team with Charizard, Incineroar, Dusclops, Conkeldurr, Lapras, and Togekiss has this cool switch flip where you can be Trick Room or you can be Charizard. And it's really cool.
It's kind of sweet, not gonna lie.
But yeah, this 26th place team has 2 Venusaurs. I'm not sure what this other Venusaur is supposed to be. Maybe an Indeedee?
I could see it.
Or
Indeedee would fit in really well here.
Since we're running Lipard with Copycat, we don't have to have the Indeedee as much.
Does Lipard get Prankster?
It's Prankster Copycat.
Okay, cool.
So this could be like another Trick Room Mon. It could be another like Sun Mon support. I'm not sure what it is, but if I'd have to lean towards something, I would lean towards probably another damage dealer of some sort.
Okay. I can get down with that.
Maybe a Conkeldurr.
Conkeldurr is real powerful, man.
It fits real well in the Trick Room part, and it fits well with the Sun. Because it covers the rock. It can hit rock types that Charizard has problems with. It can... if you teach it Fire Punch or Ice Punch, it can deal with Pokemon that can hurt Venusaur pretty hard. Moving on to 27th, we see our first Gothitelle, our first Sylveon, and our first Dracovish.
I love this team because it has Sylveon.
Of course you do.
Out there. Of course you do. Specifically because Togekiss, Durant, Lapras, and Sylveon. Those 4, I don't care what the other 2 are. I'm hooked. You have my attention.
So what's cute here is this Lapras is probably running Perish Song with Gothitelle.
Love it. Wouldn't change a thing.
So
Perish Trap is something that Quentin has been working on in Draft League. And I've been like, Quentin, listen, you're doing this incorrectly. Let me help you help yourself.
Exactly.
Because I played a lot of Perish Trap back in the day, and it was not good. But I know what I'm talking about when I say I know how to play Perish Trap. Right. Perish Trap is actually one of the first things I tried to work on in this game, too. And very quickly figured out that the game is too aggressive to make Perish Trap playable.
Oh, yeah. The game's super aggressive, so it's hard to sit there and do stall tactics like Toxic Stall and all that nonsense. But it is doable. There are teams that set up and do a pretty decent job of stalling out the game. But this is not one of them.
I can agree with that, yes.
I like the Dracovish here as just like... Lapras isn't going to do enough by itself when it comes to water type coverage, so like having Dracovish here just means you can OHKO anything that's weak to Vicious Rend. Also, just teaching it Ice Fang and Crunch and Psychic Fangs for opposing Laprases means you have so much coverage moves. Going down to... Well, the rest of these teams are pretty common. 28th's the last like unique team, I'd say.
I would agree with that.
28 and 31st kind of have the same kind of theme going. 28th and 31st are both Colossal teams. I'm assuming they're both Weakness Policy Colossal.
I'm trying to figure out how we're triggering it because we don't have Aqua Jet.
I'm not sure how 28th triggers it. 31st has Mach Punch on Conkeldurr, and it can trigger it.
Yeah, but that doesn't also trigger a Steam Engine.
No. Lapras can have Surf.
Surf would hit pretty hard, but the problem is like because Lapras is fairly slow, and Colossal is very slow. It's just not going to be enough to be able to.
Oh, I'm dumb. It's Dragapult. Dragapult Scald from a physical Dragapult probably won't deal enough to actually matter to this Colossal to where Colossal can just pop off.
Oh. Carl, this is why we keep you around.
So yeah,
Today I learned that Dragapult also gets Scald.
Yeah, that's actually what I ran on my Dragapult in Collinsville. I loved having Scald, just being able to I can max Geyser and turn off Sun.
That's adorable.
But yeah, so you can trigger it with Scald off of your Dragapults, which you're running probably Dragon Darts, Shadow Claw, and some other physical move anyway. Maybe Fire Fang to cover it for like Durant coverage or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scald, and you're just Jolly, so you can just be as fast as possible.
Man, why does this thing have literally every move you could possibly think of and then some?
Pseudo legendary.
But good lord, man, its move pool is absurd.
I know. This 28th place team also has another Alolan Persian, which I'm a real big fan of. Also has Corviknight. There's another Corviknight in 30th. We missed that.
We have a couple different Corviknights here. I thought there was only going to be one. Evidently, there's 3.
There's also another Dracovish in 30th, which is really cool. Going through the rest of these teams, 29th looks to be Lapras Trick Room with Butterfree support for Rhyperior and Ferrothorn as just like another Trick Room abuser. 30th looks to be pretty much Hard Sand with Corviknight and Duraludon as like other just like sand lovers, and then Dracovish Mimikyu as like just rounding out the team.
Just
rounding it out.
Threats.
31st is the other Colossal team, which actually is leaning a little bit more into Trick Room than 28th place team was. And then the last team, 3rd and 32nd, is another Sand team with Indeedee Female, Rotom Heat, Gastrodon, and Togekiss. I like the diversity.
I agree.
We're not seeing as much of other like all of one like specific archetype. Like not everyone's playing Sand. Now, granted, there's a lot in the top 8 that has this Lapras, Togekiss, Incineroar, Conkeldurr, Dusclops core. And they're just filling in the last spot with whatever they deem necessary. In case of second place, it was Alchemy, which that's the best performing one. But outside of the top 8, that falls off. It just disappears.
Sure.
It just disappears.
Yeah, for sure.
That 5-mon core just doesn't pop up again as much. There's another one in 10th, but like outside of that, you don't see it as often. Which I think it's nice having a lot of diversity. Having different Pokemon all the time is nice to see, rather than seeing the same Pokemon all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting and a much deserved and much wanted change, I guess you could say. Being able to just have diversity is just one thing that's great. Like, it's not something that when we played a lot of Magic, that there was times where, well, this is the best thing that you could possibly do, so you should be doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that sucks because I don't want to do
that. Speaking of having diverse metas, since there's a whole lot of online tournaments coming up, are you planning on participating in any of them?
I was thinking about doing playing in the Champions Cup, and I am in that Discord server, and man, does it just kind of feel kind of disorganized right now.
It's early still. Give them time to weed. Once people get weeded out that aren't like super serious about it, then it'll probably slow down. It'll be a little bit easier to get into. If you don't know, the Champions Cup is the tournament being run by Wolfie Click and A-Drive, which they're both real great people, real great players. I think this is their first foray into outside, like doing tournaments that are outside for like outside people.
I believe so.
Because I know A-Drive does a lot of Draft League videos, but that's like a lot of his closer friends and whatnot that he plays with there. Whereas this is his first time managing a tournament, so I'm excited to see how this first one goes. Because if this goes great, then it'll take off.
For sure.
It'll be great. It'd be nice having like an online tournament every couple months or so. Outside of the Championship Cup, Pokemon has their internationals in April here. Sign-ups started the 25th, and I think they go until the 2nd of April.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Or
my
something
biggest
like that.
problem is I don't know if I'm going to be able to have enough time to actually be able to play with them.
The cool thing is you only get to play so many games a day, and you have all day to play. and you don't have to play them all. If you don't get them all in one day, you can play more the next day. It's just like you have to get so many games over the weekend. It's kind of how it works. So that's how they're cool. They're cool like that, and I believe it's Series 3 rules.
I believe so, yeah.
So that means any of the G-Maxes that are legal in Series 3 will be legal. I think the only ones we're missing now are Garbodor, Gengar, Duraludon, Copperajah,
Machamp.
I think that's it.
I believe that is it. That's all that come to mind.
Because it's the Garbodor, Duraludon, Copperajah, and then Gengar, Machamp. Because
that sounds like it.
I think we have the rest already. So we're getting really close to having all the G-Maxes available for VGC use.
Probably means we're going to get a Series 4 before the DLC comes out.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to get We're actually going to be on like 6 by the time the DLC comes out.
Good lord.
Yeah. Because the series updates almost every month.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably get Series 4 will be the Gengar, Machamp. Those will probably get added. And then when we get to Series 5 in May, it'll be the other G-Maxes we're missing. Garbodor, Duraludon, and Copperajah.
Which, to be fair, I don't really see any of them being overly played.
Garbodor might actually be kind of cool. I can't remember what its G-Max move does.
Man, you could tell me that it's playable, and I'd just look at you and be like, I don't know about that.
What does its G-Max move do? Oh, it just poisoned everybody.
Oh. Interesting.
That's not bad. Poisons both opponents. That's not terrible.
I can kind of get down with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good, but it's definitely something you could do.
Like, Garbodor is fairly bulky. 82 defense, 82 special defense. Is at a decent speed tier at 75. So it's like you could do things with Trick Room.
Mm-hmm.
Its stats are pretty middling across the board. It's like got okay HP. It's got 95 attack. So you're going to be physical anyway. Notably, if you bulldoze this thing with weakness policy, it actually works because it's another weakness policy holder.
Interesting.
You get, as physical moves, you have, where are they? You get Drain Punch. You can use Cross Poison as your poison type attack if you wanted to. You get Stomping Tantrum as ground coverage. You also get Seed Bomb. You also get Gunk Shot if you're wanting to run that. But just going to throw this out there that the max poison moves are all 95, no matter what they are, special or physical. So running Gunk Shot at 120, you're just going to actually lose out on damage when you're G-Max. So do with that information what you will.
Huh. Okay.
We also get Giga Impact.
Huh.
That makes a max strike that's at 150.
I mean, that's real high. That's real high.
Yeah, that's actually a lot. Max attack with beneficial nature is 161 at level 50.
Man, that's still really fast.
161 attack's not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Min speed is 72, which is well within the range of Trick Room, but like there's better Trick Room abusers.
Huh.
What?
I just got hit by an Excadrill with weakness policy.
Interesting. Playing Showdown while we're recording, are we?
Yeah, I just started this match.
Oh.
Usually no, but you know.
So
I had to. We were talking about what we would play at these tournaments, and I wanted to see how this team shaped out.
I've been working on Decidueye. That's what I've been doing.
This is we were talking about doing stuff with Bisharp Conkeldurr, but instead of Togekiss, I was playing Sylveon because I really like Sylveon. So it's kind of the same idea, just not really.
Yeah, kinda. I've been working on Decidueye for a while here.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I know that's something that you texted me about, I think yesterday. I was like, what do you mean you've been working on this? This is the first I'm hearing about it.
So Decidueye it's kind of this cool team I've been building. So we have the Lapras Raichu core. That's really, really good. We have Togekiss as follow me support. I'm using Torracat instead of Incineroar because I have Lapras on my team.
Okay.
Mainly so I reduced my number of weakness to fighting, weakness to Conkeldurr pretty much. Which it still gets parting shot. It still gets it's in and out. It's kind of bulky still with Eviolite. It's not like as bulky as Incineroar with Assault Vest, I don't think, but it's still decent.
I would say that by itself is pretty bulky. So
yeah. So we also get to do the fake out stuff. So it's like there's the combo of just like run out there and intimidate, fake out, parting shot out, come back out, and just keep doing that over and over and over. And then when we're down to just like in Torracat and something else, we can just sit there and just start heat waving them over and over. Just spread damaging as much as possible.
Okay.
I'm running Goodra to counter Sun because I don't have a really good Sun counter on this team.
There's been a lot of Sun, man.
Goodra's real good against both Venusaur and Charizard. It resists both.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sapsiper's a hell of an ability.
Sapsiper says, I can't go to sleep. I just get to keep outputting damage. And then running Decidueye as this like Assault Vest carrying grass type, which if you didn't know, it actually is decently bulky. It has pretty decent speed. So the moveset is long reach, so I avoid contact, which it doesn't do a whole lot, but in certain situations, you want it. We're carrying the vest. We have U-turn to get out if we need to get out. Also, U-turn combos with Torracat, so we can go Decidueye lead, out with U-turn, in with Torracat, intimidate, parting shot out, Decidueye it's out, and just keep flipping them back and forth. Also, I have Volt Switch on Raichu, so that's just like a lot of in and out over and over and over.
That seems real sweet.
Also have Brave Bird, Leaf Blade, and then Spirit Shackle can lock opponents in.
Is that what that does?
Yes.
Interesting.
So Spirit Shackle is G-Max Terror, except it's single target. I only lock in one, but I lock them in permanently. Like I can swap out and they're still locked in because Spirit Shackle's a permanent effect. It's like Mean Look.
Okay.
So it's really cute. Raichu's Fake Out, Brick Break, Volt Switch, and Nuzzle. And then Lapras has Perish Song on it to pair with the Decidueye's locking of Pokemon in. It has Ice Shard for Goodra's weakness policy. We're running Thunderbolt, so when we G-Max, we can stop sleep. And then we're also just running Protect, so outside of G-Max, we're just like this stall wall for Perish Song nonsense. It's cute. Is it good? Probably not. But it's really, really cute.
Hey, there's only one way to find out, right?
I haven't had time to play it. I've been at work and cleaning, so I haven't actually had time to play anything.
Let's see. I really haven't been working on anything. I've just been playing a lot of Sylveon. Just trying to figure out what's really good with it. And one of my favorite things I can do with it is because I have quick attack on it. With Pixelate, I can proc weakness policy on a lot of different mons.
Yeah.
The big ones that I've been doing it with are Tyranitar and Pangoro for Draft League. And now, moving past it, I'm doing stuff with like Dragapults, If I really wanted to go deep, I could do stuff with Conkeldurr, but like Flame Orb's probably just better there. So like the two big ones are Dragapult and Tyranitar. And man, do those both get way better when you have a weakness policy trigger on them.
Oh, I bet. You ready to move on? You ready to move on to DLC stuff?
Yeah, let's talk some DLC.
So we got a mini Nintendo Direct out of nowhere Thursday morning. They didn't talk a whole lot about the DLC. We got a short little video where they just like confirmed a few things about Kubfu and Urshifu, how it works. They talked about some story elements, and they talked about how getting the Gigantamax on your Pokemon, on your starters works.
Yep.
For those that didn't know, Cinderace, Rillaboom, and Inteleon all get Gigantamax forms. Apparently the moves are stronger than other Gigantamax moves, so I don't know how that's going to work, and they ignore abilities. So, like, Disguise is off, Storm Drain's off, Sap Sipper's off, Water Absorb's off, Flash Fire's off, things like that.
Interesting.
It does not turn off things like actual like moves, like effects from moves. So like if you're it doesn't ignore typings.
Okay.
So it's like if you change your type somehow, I think Soak is the popular one running around right now. It doesn't ignore that. But they're supposed to be more powerful, which is cool, and you have to complete the DLC, that island, to actually get them. Now, how we get it, we're not sure. There's a couple rumors. I know one of the rumors is the ones you said, where there are raids on that island.
I think that's the most likely outcome, especially with like we know we're getting new raid spots on the DLC. It would make sense that they're adding new Gmaxes based on that. And how else do you get your Gmaxes other than raids? It makes sense.
Exactly. So that's like the most common one. The second one is there's like a special event. You take a starter Pokemon 2, and it grants it the Gmax form. Which that could be a good way, because then you could just like breed a starter, take your perfect starter, go get the Gmax on it. That way they can put it in Series 6 whenever it happens, because it's not gated behind a raid wall like the rest of these Gmax ones are. That's the whole reason they were banned, like most of them were banned from the start, is because it's so hard to get access to them without manipulating the game.
Yep.
So doing it this way, where it's an in-game event that you get once this DLC's finished, opens it for all players, meaning they can enable it on Series 6 and they get that initial hype factor on that DLC, a little bit more sales into their pocket kind of situation.
Well, they've also confirmed that anything new that is added is going to be able to be added to the base game too.
Yeah.
So we know we're getting new Mons. We don't have a confirmed list of all of them yet, but I know it's moving towards having a national dex, which I think is great.
They're filling in a lot of the spots like that are like they took out, like Kingdra. I know's in DLC 1. I know Kingdra's in it. I know Chansey, Blissey, Happiny line's in it. Like there's these Pokemon that we saw in the first trailer. It's like, here's the returning Pokemon, and they just highlighted some. So we're getting closer to having our national dex back. I see why now we didn't get it initially, and why it's being done the way they're doing it. One, it's a cash grab, which it's Nintendo. They need to make their money. It's understandable.
Yeah, again, I don't see a problem with doing it that way.
Two, it is more space, because these models are a little bit bigger than the pixel models that you get on a 3DS.
Yep.
They're not 2D pictures sitting on a screen. Now, granted, Sun and Moon had 3D rendered pixels, but they're not to the degree that they are on the Switch, for sure. Also, they're working with a new hardware system. They probably figured out one way to do their modeling, and they just went with it. We're probably going to get flamed with this episode because Dexit is a thing. I don't care at this point.
It's ridiculous to even consider it, man.
The games are great anyway, whether we got the National Dex or not.
One of my biggest complaints is like anytime Nintendo posts anything on like anything on Twitter, you'll always get those people of, oh, Dexit, we need to bring back the everything. I'm just like, can you just like calm down, please? Everything is fine. We don't need megas. We don't need every mon available. Everything is fine. Quit overreacting.
Exactly.
And dude, it's on every post that Nintendo or Pokemon makes. It's just, oh, you need to bring this back.
It's kind of a big deal. They set a precedent of you being able to bring all your Pokemon from all your previous games to the next generation, and then they go ahead and they stop that here. So I can see why people are mad, but it's a game.
Yep.
Get over it. The easiest way to put it, there are more important things to worry about in life than
a Pokemon game, yeah.
Exactly.
Not saying that, like you said, not saying that the hate isn't justified, but again, it's a game.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about this week?
I got a whole lot of nothing, unfortunately, man.
Yeah, I'm all talked out as well.
I am gonna go figure out how to beat up, how to do things more with Sylveon. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at today.
Okay.
What about yourself? What's the plan for the rest of the day?
Probably do a lot of editing. I got a lot of video work to do. I need to get the Egglocke episode edited.
Which, for the record, I thoroughly enjoyed.
I'm probably going to play that probably once a week on Mondays or Tuesdays or whatever day I have off from work. It's a fun thing to do like once a week, but I don't want to do it all at one go because I can honestly sit down and beat it all in like 6 hours and be done with it, and I'd rather just stretch it out.
Make it more fun for you. Exactly. I understand that.
But outside of that, I know I've got the Draft Week video to edit.
Oh yeah, because I sent you that.
I've got this episode I got to get put together, which if it's out, yay. If it's not, I probably died somewhere in a hole.
Please don't die, Carl.
I don't think it will. But anyway, want to get us out of here?
Sure. You talked me into it. I'll sign us off for the week.
Woo.
As always, everyone, you can find us on Twitter. At LR Lessons, myself at CarterNoble25, and Carl at musical_33. Carl and I are both also on Twitch. You can find myself at Mr. Missouri25. You can find Carl at Musical. We stream with some irregularities, playing who knows what, usually Pokemon games. We streamed this past weekend. We played Pokemon Red Bingos. So, we don't just do Sword and Shield content. If you want to see other stuff, we're more than willing to do it, because we do.
Yep.
Past that, we have a Discord server. That's where we get our Team of the Week talks. That's where we talk about anything related to Pokemon and anything related to anything else. So our community there is great. It's growing slowly but surely, and I'm really glad to see that. If you're interested in that, that link is down in the show notes as well. Past that, we have an email. So questions, comments, concerns, anything else that we've missed, you can always email us there as well. Anything I am missing?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Oh, the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. The thing we plugged earlier.
We are not used to it because this is something new to us. We have a YouTube channel as well. That's where you can listen to this wonderful podcast if you haven't done so already, if you're on Spotify or anything else. We also have our Draft League matches on there, and I believe that's where Carl's Egglocke is going to be uploaded to as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that is also down in the show notes. Make sure you go hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications when new videos go live. Past that, I think we're actually done. I'm signing us off. Final answer.
Yes.
Okay. See y'all next week. Have a good one. Peace.